10 Easter eggs in anime. Hey guys, Culture here. Today we're going to explore 10 Easter eggs in anime. More specifically, we'll examine the full gamut of references in each anime, and focus on my personal favourite in each case. All these little details make rewatching your favourite shows that much more fun, and the satisfaction of noticing some obscure reference really rewards those countless hours spent consuming media. I didn't mean that to sound so sad. Let's cheer up by looking at 10 Easter eggs in anime. Number 1. Boku No Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia, follows a class of kids with special powers known as quirks, who are learning what it takes to uphold a society of heroes. It's probably no surprise then that the mangaka for Boku No Hero, Kohei Horikoshi, is a massive fan of Western superhero comics. In interviews, Horikoshi often cites Spider-Man as being his favourite superhero, because of the emphasis on rescuing people in Sam Raimi's films, and his somewhat nerdy personality. These traits are clearly reflected in Deku, the protagonist of Boku No Hero, who isn't as naturally confident as some heroes like Superman or Batman. The theme of "with great power comes great responsibility" also pervades the universe of Boku No Hero. The Easter egg that I think shows Horikoshi's love for comic books the most would be the character of Jurota Shishida. Shishida is a member of Class 1B that we see most notably in the cavalry battle of the Sports Festival arc. His quirk, Beast, is clearly a reference to the character Beast from the X-Men comics. The two characters have a similar appearance in that they're covered with fur, wear glasses, and have 2 teeth protruding from their bottom jaw. Number 2. One Piece follows the adventures of the Straw Hat Pirates in a world where people are given mysterious powers by ingesting devil fruits. The series takes us on journeys to truly absurd and amazing lands, each inhabited by its own host of odd characters. What you may not have known is Eiichiro Oda, the mangaka for One Piece, based a lot of his characters on real people. If you don't believe me, check out Sato Art on DeviantArt, who's gone through the trouble of making his own comparisons to guess which characters have real-life inspirations. Some of them are so similar it hurts, like Steve Tyler and Django, or Kuni Tanaka and Admiral Kizaru. Others are a bit of a stretch, like Hulk Hogan and Whitebeard, or Freddie Mercury and Peeply Lulu. And of course, some are just hilarious and I really hope they're true, like Daft Punk and Killer, or Eminem and Godinel. My personal favourite has got to be Emporio Ivankov, who looks exactly like Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter. Beautiful. Number 3. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is rife with references to Western culture. Western music, especially from the 70s and 80s, finds its way into the show principally through the names of characters. Enya the Hag, Captain Tennille, and Steely Dan are all obvious, but some of the more obscure examples include Iggy, named after Iggy Pop, Whole Horse, named after Hall & Oates, and Forever the Orangutan, which is a reference to Wu-Tang Forever by the Wu-Tang Clan. Of course, some of the best tunes from the show are Western songs, like Roundabout by Yes, and Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bangles. Horror movies also feature heavily throughout JoJo's 3rd season, Stardust Crusaders, with almost every episode borrowing its plot from a classic horror movie and giving it that unique JoJo's twist. Wheel of Fortune is Stephen King's Christine, Death 13 is Wes Craven's Freddy Krueger, and Ebony Devil is Don Mancini's Chucky. My favourite Easter egg though has to be from one of the best episodes of Stardust Crusaders. In The Gatekeeper of Hell Pet Shop, Iggy fights a bird called Pet Shop, another music reference, in a sewer. Iggy inflicts a massive wound on Pet Shop, but much to his dismay, the bird simply dips his wing in the blood and licks it off while smirking. This shot is a direct reference to a classic scene from Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon, where Lee licks the blood off his finger before delivering a sick jump kick into his opponent's face. Number 4. Kill la Kill is another anime that references Western comics almost non-stop, especially Marvel superheroes. In the first episode, we see kids from Mako's class playing with Hulk and Iron Man action figures, Hoke Inamuta imitates Spider-Man's poses and hand gestures, and Nui Harume borrows a lot of her character traits from Deadpool, her regenerative healing, ability to break the fourth wall, and overall airheaded attitude, whilst actually being super dangerous. But we also have some way more out-of-the-box references, like how Satsuki's opening lines in the first episode, "Fear is freedom, subjugation is liberation, contradiction is truth," draw close parallels to this line about fascist regimes from George Orwell's 1984. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. As far as Easter eggs go, however, I've got to give it to a quick background appearance in episode 4. In the scene where Mako's father is bringing Senketsu to Ryuko, we can see two uniquely dressed characters in the background. These men are none other than Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield, two of the protagonists from Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. What they're doing here with their forlorn expressions is anyone's guess. Number 5. Fairy Tail has the most Easter eggy Easter eggs you could possibly imagine, an inclusion that truly serves no purpose but to be a fun thing to notice as you watch. In every episode, there is a tiny character in one of the shots that has no relation to the story. I couldn't even find out what they were called, everyone just calls them Easter eggs. Some of the little guys look like characters from Fairy Tail creator Hiro Mashima's previous work, Rave Master, but other than that, they're just random doodles. A lot of them remind me of the Ojama creatures from Yu-Gi-Oh! With their simplistic yet simultaneously unique shapes and personalities. If you were a diehard fan, you could go through each episode and find them all yourself. Or you can be lazy like me and watch this video by YouTube user Definition, who compiled every single appearance up until episode 175 by himself. There's a link in the description below to Inition's video. It's kind of cool to see the whole collection in one place. Number 6. Squidward is in Gurren Lagann. Look at this. How perfect is this image? That's really all I have to say here. Number 7. When I first watched Dragon Ball, I was so young it didn't even register with me just how many times the series references famous figures from history. Bulma names Gohan Einstein, Goku comments on how the apple on King Kai's planet would have killed Isaac Newton if it hit him on the head, and the character named Dictator in Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn is clearly a caricature of Adolf Hitler. The whole series is weirdly grounded in the actual world, with real countries being mentioned often, and Earth actually having distinct continents like North and South America showing from outer space. All of that makes me wonder if the movies that are referenced in the show also exist in Dragon Ball's universe, like when Frieza is being restored in the episode The Mysterious Youth, and the scientist quite clearly parodies the film The $6 Million Man by saying, "I am confident that we can rebuild him. We have the technology." Or what about when Kui calls Vegeta out on Namek by saying, "Come out and play," like that famous scene from the film The Warriors. But by far the best reference is Bulma dressing like Ripley in the final scenes of Alien, wearing almost nothing at all. That's one thing 80s movies and anime have in common. Plenty of fan service. Number 8. My favorite Easter eggs come out of the blue, appearing in series that are, apart from that one instance, almost entirely devoid of inside jokes. This is exactly the case for Neon Genesis Evangelion, in which an obscure reference makes its way into the show in the most subtle way possible. In the 12th episode of the series, we get a look at some papers on Misato's table. Among the scrap is a pizza menu for a shop called Mac Pizza, with a little Italian man's face next to it. If your eyes just widened in amazement, then you must be one of the obsessive fans of the Mother series, because this is an esoteric reference to the pizza shop from Mother 2. The show was being made around the time Earthbound was released, so it makes perfect sense in that respect. In every other respect though, it's super weird and confuses the heck out of me. You can thank Brandon Dacre over at Insider.com for this discovery, which he must have uncovered by spending far too much of his life watching Neon Genesis Evangelion. Number 9. Cowboy Bebop is a classic anime for its rad soundtrack, lovable characters, and engaging storylines, but the series also has a few sly references slipped in for fans of sci-fi. In episode 15, My Funny Valentine, Faye is enclosed in a chamber that has a label reading NCC-1701B. This number is a reference to the registry number for the Enterprise in Star Trek, creating a cute little link between the series. Episode 11, Toys in the Attic, is also chock full of nods to other sci-fi series, most notably Alien. Spike's weapons, like the flamethrower and motion tracker, draw parallels with the film, whilst the ending sequence where Spike shoots his contaminated freezer out into space parodies Ripley sucking the alien out of the airlock. However, one of the weirder references in Cowboy Bebop has a somewhat more sinister tone. In episode 23, Brain Scratch, Spike uses the alias Marshall Banana to hack into a computer system. The episode also heavily features a religious group called Scratch, headed by their enigmatic leader Dr. Londes. Taking this information together, it's not too hard to see that the episode is referencing Heaven's Gate, a cult founded by amateur musician Marshall Applewhite in the 90s. The cult had a dark end when, in 1997, Applewhite convinced his members to commit mass suicide. Suddenly, a silly alias like Marshall Banana is way more twisted than we thought. Number 10. Pokemon. Of course, if I'm going to do a whole list on anime, then I have to cover Pokemon. Most of the gags in Pokemon are self-referential, where the anime gives a nod to the games, or the trading cards, or the comics, or, well, the list goes on. In Season 10, Episode 21, we meet the B-Button League, an organization that purposely avoids evolving their Pokemon and competes to see who's the strongest. Their name is an obvious reference to a method where you press B to cancel evolution in the games. Some references are far more subtle, like in Pokemon Origins when Red considers nicknaming his Charmander Sepultura. You'll only get this joke if you remembered that a screenshot on the back of the Japanese release of Pokemon Red has a Charmander with exactly this nickname. One of my favourite running gags has got to be the awful pun names for episode titles. Some of my personal highlights include On a Wingull and a Prayer, To Master the Unexpected, and both Turning Over a New Bayleaf and Turning Over a Nuzleaf. Non-Pokemon based pun titles are fantastic too, including Smells Like Team Spirit and Hoenn Alone. And then, out of nowhere, you get a reference like the one in episode 70, Go West Young Meowth. In this episode, we get a short movie of Meowth's backstory titled That Darn Meowth. This is an obscure reference to the 1965 Disney movie That Darn Cat. Props to whoever first picked up on that Easter egg. I know I did more than one Easter egg per anime, but once I started looking into this stuff, it was crazy just how much detail the creators of these shows weave into their dialogue and character designs. I'm sure there are some out there that still haven't been noticed yet. If you have any other cool Easter eggs, let us know about them in the comments section. See you all next week. If you enjoy what we do here at CultureCrash, please consider supporting the show via our Patreon, where we have a bunch of awesome rewards, or by checking out our online store. All links are in the description below.